Hey everyone, it's Aesah, and welcome to my video on itemization fundamentals. Throughout the sets, I've done several videos of this sort, but it's something I still see frequently misapplied even in challenger lobbies, so can't hurt to go over it again. Basically, the idea is you want to diversify the stats that you're getting, so you don't want a ton of any one thing. So, for example, if you're playing this Renata build, Renata Visionaries, you're going to want a mana generation item, uh, Sho- which Shogun is the best one. Then Nashers will give you attack speed, which synergizes with Shogun because you attack more and get more mana, and then you need an AP item, Archangels, in order for your spell to be impactful. Without basically this recipe of attacking fast, having your attacks generate extra mana, and then having your actual ability be impactful with the Archangels, you'll be a lot less effective. So for example, let's just say we had a full AP build, something like this. Our spell is going to be very impactful, but we're not going to be casting often enough. Likewise, if we have just a full mana build, just something like this, or more attack speed, um, we can have a mix of these mana items. This we're going to cast more frequently, but the spell's not going to be impactful because we don't have enough AP. So this is like pretty basic multiplicative scaling. You can also apply this to what the units normally have. So Soko, frequently if you're playing him with 4 Dominators will gain. So with 4 Dominators, he's going to gain about 30 something AP every single time he casts. So by the end of the fight, he's going to have quite a lot of AP. Just 2 casts is already going to give you more AP than Death Cap. So for a unit like Soko, if you're playing him with vertical Dominators, just going more casts with a build like this is going to be more impactful. Um, Likewise, AD scaling is very similar. So let's say we have a 3-star Tristana. We could go with like a very high attack speed build, something like this, but it's not going to be that impactful because again, although we're attacking really fast, our attacks don't deal that much damage. And same thing for the other way around. If we go full just AD damage, with no attack speed at all, I guess something like this. This build is going to be better than the other one just because Tristana cares more about her ultimate, but it's still going to be problematic because even though she's going to deal a ton of damage, she doesn't have the attack speed in order to get those ultimates out fast enough. So you would much rather have like a mix of items, something like this. You want to diversify attack damage, attack speed, and there's also some other factors such as damage amp, for example, is relevant for both of these units. Uh, there's not that many items that give damage amp. You can go Guardbreaker or Giant Slayer are the 2 damage amp items, so these are definitely not bad at all. A build like this will give you a mix of attack speed and AD, whereas Guardbreaker and Giant Slayer both have some attack speed on it, so this is kind of like pretty good since it's like a mixture of attack speed. You get damage amp as well. If you have Infinity Edge, it makes crit glove items, which are Guardbreaker, Last Whisper, for example. It makes these better because the plus 20% critical chance. Normally, this is close to completely wasted on most units that deal most of their damage through their ability. This this 20% critical strike chance is about 1/6 of the total item budget. And again, that's usually wasted, but if you have Infinity Edge, now that critical strike chance can go into your ability critty. Just because for most units, their ability does the majority of their damage, not their basic attacks, even for AD units. There are a few exceptions. Draven, for example, his ability is always crit. Um, I mean, honestly, there's not that many exceptions. Yeah, most AD units are just doing most of their damage through their abilities. I would say like Ambessa is one who does more of her damage through her basic attack than her abilities, but even still, ability damage is a decent part. Same thing goes for frontline units. So let's say we have Garen. Um, actually, Garen has Emissary, so he actually scales extra from health compared to other units. But even still, compared if he's your only tank, having a build like this where you have a lot of HP is not going to be effective as diversifying HP, durability, and then resistances. Um, Likewise, if you have a build that's just a whole bunch of resistances like this, that's not going to be that effective either. And again, you have to factor in what the unit itself already has, because Alawi, let's say you're playing a 6 Sentinel setup, um, you're playing like a 6 Sentinel Heimer setup, Stoneplate is not going to be that effective on Alawi because she's already getting, with 6 Sentinel, she's already getting 120 something resist. So Stoneplate is giving you a pretty small amount relative to that. Basically, again, you want a little bit of every stat. And just one more example, like Twitch, going back to AD. Twitch, if you're playing with him with Sniper, let's say he's attacking a unit 4 hexes away, which is not even that much, with 2 snipers. That's already 20%, 28% damage amp. Frequently, he's hitting something further. So when you already have damage amp, that makes additional damage amp less valuable. Um, Basically, one way to think about it is, let's say I deal 100 damage and I get 10% damage amp. Now I'm dealing 110, which is 10% more damage. But let's say I already have, let's just say I already have 100% damage amp, and then I get 10% more. Now, instead of dealing 200 damage, I'm dealing 210, so I'm only dealing 5% more damage. So in this case, our damage amp is only half as valuable as it would be if I didn't have any at all. Again, half is very extreme, uh, and I use a very extreme number just to make the math simple. You're not normally going to have that much, but basically the more you have of something, the less valuable it is. That's going to wrap it up for this video on itemization fundamentals. Again, basically you want to diversify your stats. For AP units, you usually want a mana item plus an AP item plus an attack speed item. That tends to be ideal. There's some exceptions. For example, Dominator Soko, which just wants can forego the AP item in favor of more casts. And then for tanks, you want to diversify health and resist and maybe durability. For AD units, you want to diversify attack damage, attack speed, and then perhaps damage amp and crit if your ability can crit. Thanks for watching, and let me know in the Discord if you have any questions.